Welcome to T. Frank's Film Room for one of the most uniquely talented football players that we've covered here in T. Frank's Film Room. You may have already been following along with Mega Barnwell, Mathias Mega Barnwell. He is the 4-star tight end out of Virginia. He is a super talented football player, the 119th player in the nation, 8th player at his position, and the 2nd player in the state of Virginia out of Fredericksburg at Riverbend High School. He is a phenomenal athlete and a uniquely gifted one at 6'5", pushing 6'6", and he's 255 pounds already. So Mega Barnwell, the quick backstory, as a 9th grader, he committed to the Nittany Lions. Maybe a little bit prematurely, decided he wanted to go through the process a little bit. He got 29 offers from other schools during that time. And then finally, 1 week after the whiteout game his junior season, he is recommitted to the Nittany Lions. And Mega Barnwell, if you've been following along, I'm very excited to watch this football player because, as I said before, he is uniquely talented. And we've talked about this before. Not every 6'5", 250-pound athlete is built the same way. You've got a bunch of different body types. You've got a bunch of different development paths that players and their body types follow. And Mega Barnwell has been one who has been big for a long time. He was about this size, maybe 235, 240 pounds, when he first committed to the Nittany Lions. And now that he's a junior, let's see what he is and what he's done. Now, Mega Barnwell wants to play tight end going forward. He plays tight end in high school, and we'll get into some of the unique parts about this recruiting process because Mega really fits his description. He is a jumbo-sized skill position player, and I do mean skill position player because his ability to play in space and to play the football in the air and catch are excellent. This is not a guy who is just a big tight end. Look at the way he moves off the line of scrimmage, the way he moves through space, his ability to get to the football and make plays, the body control in the air, all of the skill position play you need, he brings to the table. And at 6'5" with long arms and gigantic hands, he is a guy that can just devour the football in the air. And defensive backs at the catch point really don't have a chance. Look at his body size and the way he moves through space. It is really, really impressive. And the ability then to concentrate and to manipulate defenders, all of those skills are there, and he can do it from a variety of positions. Now, I find this really interesting because it's clear he's been working on these skills. That doesn't happen by accident. So this is a guy who's very athletic and in a bunch of different ways. That's the thing about Mega Barnwell is he's a phenomenal athlete. And when you look at the positional skills of playing tight end, a big dude, can he run routes? Well, yeah. Yeah, he can run routes. He's got good footwork. He's got good transitions in his routes. Check the way he can snap his hips and he can get in and out of a break. Now, a stop and go when you're that big, everyone's afraid of everything you're doing. So it's kind of hard to get any sort of separation there. But you can see when he runs his routes, this one here is particularly impressive. You watch the way he gets to the top, footwork, the ability to flip his hips and get to the outside and create separation. And again, he can do it from inline. He can do it from the slot. He's a legitimate threat as a receiver. I love that. I love the footwork. I love the hip flexibility. Everything he's bringing to the table there is really impressive. Now, if you'll notice, he plays in line, and I've shown you his tight end positional skills. But this is a guy who I genuinely think you could project to 4 different positions in college. Obviously tight end with those positional skills. But he also spends a lot of his time at defensive end and nose tackle on the other side of the ball. So a receiver who plays nose tackle, you don't get a lot of this. And as a blocker, as an inline blocker at tight end, it's amazing watching him play because he looks like a guy that is a tackle. Like he looks like a tackle. Playing in space, not a problem. He can block in space. Here he is on the end of the line of scrimmage, and he's just running guys off the ball. And the thing is, I don't think he's fully or physically developed at this point. It's really early in his development process. His body is not yet filled out. He's still kind of got that young athlete. I don't want to say baby fat because clearly he's strong and he's been putting in the work to be a good athlete, but he is by no means a physically defined with, good muscular definition throughout his body. This is a guy who is still growing into his frame, and he's already 255 pounds. He already has those blocks on camera and on film. So this is really a guy who has all kinds of talent at a bunch of different positions. Now, one of the things I love about this is you can see his skills through the different positions he plays. We saw some of his quickness off the line of scrimmage as a receiver, some of his quickness in and out of his breaks. Now watch it as a defensive tackle. His quickness off the line is translatable to whatever position he plays, whether it's tight end, whether it's defensive tackle, whether it's, if he ever plays along the offensive line. His ability to win at the snap is impressive. He's got great handwork. He's a positionally, fundamentally sound player, and he makes differentiating plays on both sides of the football from the line of scrimmage. He is really, and I know I keep saying this, he is a super talented football player. This is a guy who, doesn't matter where he lines up at the next level, he is going to be a difference maker and a guy that is making plays for the offense or the defense. And he is still growing. It's a super impressive highlight film. And it is, whether you watch the film proper or the highlight film, genuinely, they both tell you the exact same story. There's not really anything that is missing or that we need to delve further into. This is my favorite thing, though, is because when you look at a tall player, 6'5", and he's mostly legs. Let's be real. Looking at his body type, he is mostly legs. I've talked about before, pad level, hip flexibility, making sure you can win leverage and the point of contact. This might be the closest I can find to exactly what I'm looking for in a tall athlete. His flexibility, his ability to win the line of scrimmage is phenomenal. You can teach this. You can teach off this tape of how you keep your pad level low. If you can see here, like the video that we were working with isn't great online, and it was genuinely hard to figure out which one he was because he plays with such a low profile. He plays like a guy who's 6'2", but yet when he stands up straight, he's a head taller than everybody else. This is how you get dominant players in the offensive or defensive line of scrimmage. This is how you move people off the ball. This level of domination when it comes to pad level, hip flexibility, momentum, movement skills. There is nothing, genuinely, there's nothing I don't like from a physical aspect about Mega Barnwell. He has a complete package for a 6'5", 255-pound athlete. Now, that's as an athlete. I think you're finally going to hear the but coming in all of this conversation. He's got good route running skills. He's got good catching skills, leaping skills, body control in space. But there is no denying that he's quick and he's fast for a dude that has an offensive lineman's body. This is unfortunately for him, and he really wants to play tight end. If you look at his separation skills, you look at his long speed, it's really not there. And that is unfortunate for him because I think he's put in the work to be a good tight end, to be a good receiving threat, but he's just fighting genetics at this point. Look how big he is running through space. And, I'll put up the highlights of him receiving again, his high point and his catching. Where are the separation plays? Where is he running away from defenders? Does he look like and does he move like a Penn State tight end you've seen in the past? And that's really when you're looking at those and you're evaluating that. These are all contested catches. These are all plays where he's making phenomenal plays on the ball in the air, some run after the catch here, but he's not running away from anybody in high school. So does that translate to the next level? Well, if he works on it and he is disciplined and regimented and borderline obsessed with his diet and his training regimen, he can play tight end. These skills are rare, and they are important that you have them for a tight end. So as a receiver, he's got all of those skills. It's going to be very hard just because he's a big man is what he is, trying to play tight end. So he's going to be that traditional Y tight end. attached to the line of scrimmage, catching balls over the middle of the field, red zone threat, and then if he can be a monster with the ball in his hands and guys just bounce off of him, that's going to be, his path forward. He's not going to be the H-back. He's not going to be the F tight end. He's not going to be the guy that is lining up as a fullback in the backfield. He is going to be, flexed into the slot at times for mismatches, but he's going to be a traditional tight end in that sense. That's really his path forward, unless something dramatically changes about his explosiveness and his ability to be twitchy and fast in a real sense. Those are things he's going to have to work on if he wants to be a tight end. But this is the thing. His body, as I showed you and I've said before, he is still in the development process as far as his physical strength and filling out his frame. He's pushing 260 right now, and I think easily he could add 20 pounds of muscle. So is he going to be a 280-pound tight end when it's all said and done? And he's naturally broad and thick through his torso. So right now he carries a lot of weight there. And I'm not saying that he's overweight by any means. His natural body composition is just different than a guy like Nittany Sutton in the class of 22, who is almost the exact same size, like 6'5", 250 to 255 pounds. But Dennis Sutton is a fully developed football player from a physical standpoint as far as the expression of strength and muscle throughout his frame. There's so much room to grow for Mega Barnwell, and that part is exciting. That part is he moves so well right now with his current dimensions. And he's going to have the chance to play tight end, and he will play tight end for Penn State. He was recruited by Notre Dame as a nose tackle. I could see him being a defensive end, but truly, if you were to ask me what position would he be best at, you would be losing that athleticism in space and some of that body control. But all of that translates to tackle. He could be one of the most talented left tackles that Penn State has had since I've been watching Penn State. I would say since the 90s. As far as the length, the quickness, the hip flexibility, the power, all of it is there, and there's so much untapped potential. So that's going to be up to Mega Barnwell about whether he decides that he wants to pursue that or if he wants to be a tight end and he's going to stick to his guns. And I get it. He wants to be a positional player. He wants to be a skill position player, and he has worked on that, and he has earned the right to prove me wrong, I guess. And to prove that he can overcome those things. But we've seen Penn State do this with plenty of players where they have the opportunity to play the position they want and succeed or fail at that. And, he's going to have a lot of time to work. Penn State has a very deep and talented tight end room. But the bottom line is Mega Barnwell is a phenomenal athlete. He is just special. So getting him on your team and having him play wherever he plays, that is really a huge win for Penn State football. Another top 150 player for the class of 2023 now. They are developing a very special start to this class after a strong 2022. And that is really going to be going forward. If they can keep this up, this is the thing that happens where you start to make a run and you can be a special program. That'll do it for Mega Barnwell's T. Frank's Film Room. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything, including our live shows after Penn State football games, and of course, the daily edition, which comes to you Monday through Friday. That is your T. Frank's Film Room. I'm your host, Thomas Frank Carr. Make sure you subscribe to Blue White Illustrated.